Hello everyone and welcome to episode 7 in my Climbing to 1700 series on chess.com Rapid. Currently I'm sitting at 1588 elo after coming off of a win in last episode. So without further ado, let's hop into a 10-5 Rapid game. Okay, so we immediately get a match against a 1588, so a person who's exactly my rating out of the United States. So he goes through d4. I like the Benoni. I also like the Dutch defense. I think I'm going to go with the Dutch, which is pawn to f5. And the Benoni, which is pawn to c5, I also really like. I made a video on it. I think both are great and super fun options. Pretty rare, too. Pretty unorthodox openings for black to go against d4. And I would recommend looking into both of them. Okay, so he goes knight c3. We will continue with knight to f6. This is essentially a mirrored birds opening, which to people who, to bird enjoyers out there, you'll find a lot of similarities in this opening, as you would with the bird, because again, it's just like a mirrored opening. So he goes bishop g5. I don't face this too much. I think we're totally fine just playing like g6. I don't think it's a big deal if he takes and doubles our pawns. Okay, so he does. I don't think that's a huge deal. I think we can still castle kingside. If not, we can always castle queenside. And I think instead now I'm just going to pin with the bishop on b4 because all of a sudden this diagonal for my fianchettoed bishop looks pretty bad because of this doubled pawn on f6. So, I'm just going to change the plans and pin on b4. This is a very common theme in like the Stonewall or classical Dutch. Okay, so we get pawn to g4. That's quite interesting. We can trade off our doubled pawn, and he's also severely weakening his kingside, so clearly he is not going to castle kingside. I noticed we can take here, and then we can also trade off the knight if we want to, and that rips open the queenside, so that makes castling quite annoying for him. So I think I might just play like a move like d6, just opening up the bishop, so that way if he does take, we do end up, if he takes, we can just capture back with the bishop, so I'm just going to play that. Just getting the bishop in the game, and now we're threatening to win this pawn. So I'm going to assume he's going to take back, but if he doesn't, we can probably just develop this way. Okay, so he pushes back. Well, now I can just trade off doubled pawns and then win this pawn, because now we have two attackers and only one defender. White only has one defender here, so I'll just trade off, get rid of the knight. Now he has doubled pawns, and his casting situation is terrible on both sides, and I'm pretty sure now we can just take this pawn. I don't see any reason not to. Now we're just up a full pawn. His kingside is pretty terrible. His queenside is pretty terrible, pawn-wise. I do have this weak doubled pawn, but at the moment, it's making the knight developing really awkward. So, even if I end up losing it, it's still, good I got rid of my doubled pawns, and, I made a weakness out of all of these pawns. So it's pretty ideal, because he has 3 pawn islands, 1, 2, 3, and then I have 2. Okay, so he plays bishop to g2, looking at this long diagonal. I can't get my bishop out now, or else I drop this. That would be terrible, because I would lose the rook and the pawn. So I think I'm just going to play, like, bishop to c6. I'm at knight to c6. I don't see anything wrong with that. If we play that, rook here, I guess that could be kind of annoying to deal with. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's really an issue. Yeah, I think we're just fine playing this. If he pushes, now we can just go here, and that shuts the bishop in. Also, sorry for not really posting. I haven't posted in almost a week. I did have an over-the-board tournament that I did pretty well in, but I'm looking to start posting a little more, maybe some shorts, and tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to try and make an opening video. I'm going to try and make Fridays and Saturdays my opening videos for the week. I'm going to aim to make at least one a week, but I don't know. I'm not going to probably stick to that super well, so, but that's my goal. So tune in Fridays and Saturdays if you want some opening videos, but then again, bear with me if I don't, because, I won't have like the best schedule. Okay, so anyways, the plan here, okay, he goes bishop to d5. I mean, he's moving the same piece twice, so maybe he meant to take and he just mouse slipped. I doubt that, though. I don't know why he would. Okay, I see what he's doing. He's preventing us from castling queenside. Okay. That's kind of annoying, I meant kingside, not queenside. He's preventing us from castling kingside. I guess it's kind of annoying, but it's nothing too bad at the moment. We could always go queen to e6 and then set up bishop to e6 and then try and like trade this off or something. Or we can just go bishop to d7, just defending the knight, so no doubled pawns ever happen. That looks pretty good, but it's not like we can even take, because once we take back, this pawn drops. So I'm just going to go like queen to e7, I think. That looks pretty good, just activating my queen. Always giving us the option to get my bishop out and castle queenside. That's pretty unlikely, though, because he can always just take the knight and then double up the pawns. Okay, so I think I'm just going to go bishop to e6. That looks pretty good. We will likely see knight to f4. I don't know if that's a problem. Once we take back, he can go there. And, I mean, that's pretty annoying. He's kind of hitting everything. We can go here, but then he can go there. Yeah, that is kind of annoying. I don't exactly like that, but I don't think it's a big time. I don't think it's a really big threat. If we play here, I just want to make sure I'm not too weakening of this pawn. We could always go here and try and set this up. I also don't want to expose my kingside too much if I'm planning on castling, so I'm just going to go here for now. Just finish up my development, keep things pretty simple. Like I said, knight to f4 is pretty annoying, but okay, he just takes, we'll take back. Oh no, oh man, I completely missed that. But it's, okay, let's just go back real quick. I thought he had d5, but it turns out he didn't, because we had this move hitting the rook, and that bought us enough time because the rook was hit and had to move, and now we could have moved the knight. Okay, so we weren't actually getting forked. That's at least good to know. Okay, so yeah, knight comes in. I want to go here, but actually, I think we can. I thought he had a fork, but the knight obviously can't move straight forwards. That looks pretty good. What, the rook comes over? And I guess this pawn might be annoying to defend. Yeah. Oh, yeah, if we move the queen like here, this drops. So, yeah, we got to do a move that defends this g4 pawn, because, I mean, we're up a pawn. I want to make sure I keep my advantage. So, e4 looks pretty good, because if he goes here, we can now push up to f5, and, we have a pretty good defense here, for sure. If we drop back here, this is probably the safer option. Yeah, it probably is. I'm just, well, now we just invite knight to d5, so I'm going to go here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just kind of neutralizing the knight from ever coming in, hitting the rook, and my queen's just very good here. f3 is going to be annoying. He could play, like, queen to d3, but I'm pretty happy to trade off. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to trade off here. Okay, so he plays rook to g1, hitting this pawn. Now this pawn is hanging. So we have h5. I don't think that's that good, because that's really weakening to these pawns. We could play g5, kicking the knight, and then set this move up, but I think I'm just going to play f5 now. I mean, just like really locking down, really defending this doubled pawn well. Like, now our biggest weakness is defended excellently. So, that is pretty good for us. I mean, now we're just full on up a pawn. I mean, we were before, but now this pawn, I would say, is not really a weakness anymore. So he goes for a queen trade. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take... I thought he would have taken with the pawn. That's kind of odd, because the knight was well placed here with, like, d5, and then he would have had a lot of central pawns to make some noise. But I'm kind of surprised he took with the knight. I don't really know why he did that. Anyways, we can castle kingside or queenside. If we go queenside, he has the rook to b1 to come and kind of pile up on this b pawn. It's only defended by my king. So that could be kind of dangerous. I mean, castling kingside just looks the like the best option. So I'll do that. You know. Yeah, keeping things pretty safe. I mean, my king cannot really be attacked here at all. So right now we're just up a pawn. We just have to make sure we convert. So this knight is pretty awkwardly placed. Okay, so he kicks it. Now that opens up e5 for us. So that seems like the only good square. If we go to e7 after a move like c4, that kind of just locks everything down. My knight is boxed in. So I think we have to go e5. If he takes back... Well, I mean, our kingside presence is so strong. I mean, it's a 5-on-3. Okay, and now we just have an excellent center. This pawn might be hard to defend. Of course, he has that. But now, I mean, we can't push that pawn. It's kind of annoying. We can always go h5. I mean, again, our kingside advantage is so good. We just have to capitalize on that. So I really like rook to c8 and then rook to d8, setting this push up. Because if he takes, we can take back, and now these pawns are just so weak, and then we get the open file. But if we go here, he'll probably go here, and then now we can go here. Once we push, he can take back, we can trade, like, you know, all that. So, we could, again, always push this. But after a move like this, I just want to make sure that I'm not weakening this too much. So I'm just going to go rook to d8 first. I could totally see rook to b1. But I don't think this is much of a problem. Because we can always push it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and now, I mean, he's just delaying rook to g1. So I think I'm just going to push up. I don't want to have my rook tied down on b8 just defending this pawn, so I'm going to push up. If he pushes, I'm just going to ignore the threat. I mean, that hangs this, so it's not like he can. I mean, if he pushes, I do not want to take, because now I give him this. And, I mean, sure, we can defend both of these pawns, but, I mean, that's just a really active rook that we have to deal with. So that's not super ideal for us. Okay, so we see king to e2, probably looking to get this rook in. So I really like... Maybe we can go... I want to push this now, but I don't think we can. Okay, so let's see. If we go here, we see rook to d1. If we push, he pushes, getting a pass pawn. We can go rook d7, and he can get a rook lift in. I don't know if he's too slow, but this pawn can be defended, but now we can rush our king in, so I think that works. Okay, once we kind of neutralize this queenside push that he has, we are pretty much golden, I would say, because we are up a pawn after all. And like I said earlier, it's a 5-on-3 in the king side. And our king side pawns are pretty well developed too, so that's pretty good for us. I mean, h5 is just looking so good. I don't think I'm going to do it yet. Like I said, I really like... I mean, we could try and go rook to d7 now. And he's going to have to probably do something like this, and then we go here, he goes there. Now if we go for like a rook lift... Yeah. Well, that doesn't work yet. I think I'm going to play this. Yeah. You know, I know we are giving him a pass pawn, but I think after rook to d7, we can set rook to d8 up and then get my king in, and I don't think he's going to be able to defend the pawn. Wait, I think we may have actually screwed up here a little bit, because he can take, and then if we take back, he takes, we can take, he can get this 7th rank rook, but then we can take these pawns, so he can take this, I guess, then we can take that. So, I mean, he is going to get a 7th rank rook. That's kind of unpleasant, but I think we have enough activity to deal with that. So, yeah, I think we're doing fine there. If he goes, okay, so he pushes. We could try and just march our king in, King to f7. He'll probably just go here. We go here. Rook here. Set up a barricade. Oh, he can push. We have to be careful. So I'm going to set up rook to d7 now to try and prevent that. Now the push is impossible. I think the only way for him to save this pawn in time is to play a move like rook to d2. Yup, and he does. So now we can just play rook to d8. Rook to d1 is going to come on the board defending this pawn. And now I'm pretty sure our king will just get in, and I don't think he's going to be able to defend this pawn in time. Yeah. King to e6, now this pawn is ours. Our king is just way more active than his, and this pawn is way too overextended. Because this pawn cannot defend it, because we can just take it on c5. So, that's why you have to be really careful about overextending your pawns. Okay, so we can just take here, and then he's gonna have to trade down 1 rook, and then he'll go there. So if we take, he can get this, so I'm not gonna let that. So I'm just gonna take now. He's forced to trade off the rook somehow. He's gonna take, and then we'll take back, and then I bet he'll play like rook here. That's probably the most likely option. Yeah. Now we're up 2 pawns. Okay, no, he takes. Why would you take? Because if you're down on material, you want to avoid trades as much as possible. That's really interesting. Now we can just go we can work our kingside advantage here. We can go, king to c5 just looks too good. Just hitting all of this. Taking away squares for the king. Yeah, that looks too good. We have a 5-on-3 on the king side. We can go h5. Yeah, h5, g5, f4, push, get a pass pawn. Yeah, this is going to be too much. Yeah. And we may even be forced, his king's probably going to have to come over here, and now we can just chop off these pawns. Because the king's eventually going to have to leave this c4 pawn, to focus on the bigger threat of this 5-on-3, and then we can just take this pawn. So, g5 just looks really good, just solidifying even more. And, okay, so he takes. I'm not going to take back, because now he can take, and then we can take. He'll take. We can march forward, so that's fine. Wait, that actually might be better if we just do that. Because then he'll take, we can just go. If he goes there. No, I'm just going to push. Yeah, pushing's better. Yeah, I don't want to get into, I want to try and calculate as least as I can. So now h4 and now g3 is unstoppable. That will give us a pass pawn. Because he's going to have to take, and then we'll just, after all trades, we'll have a pass pawn. And this pawn, he's going to have to go king to e2 to, stop it. Okay, so he goes king to e2 now. Now we can just take the c pawn. Because remember, I said his king is going to have to eventually leave the c4 pawn. And now we are just able to win it. Okay, so he pushes. Heck, we can just push here, just solidify even more. We also could have just taken this pawn. In a position like this, there's so many different types of moves that you can do that will end up winning for you. Just, as long as you just, don't blunder your pawns, play solid. So I'll just take this pawn now, and we have not 1, not 2, but 3 pass pawns. I'll just push this guy. Now this pawn cannot be stopped. If his king tries to come over, we have this pawn, and now his king just going to be too tied up. These pawns are just going to rumble down the board, and all of his pawns are tied up too. There's absolutely no way for him to break through. The only way for his king to get in would, for, the king to get all the way down here and start to pick off the pawns this way, but, I mean, his king can't teleport, so I don't know how he's going to get to e5 before I promote. So, like I said, unless his king has the ability to teleport. All right, so b4, b3. I can just pre-move b2. Ooh, that's a pretty nasty trap. If we promoted, that's stalemate, because the pawn with the queen or rook would be a stalemate. So instead, we just push this pawn to force white, onto the back rank. Now we can promote with the queen or rook, but I'll do the queen. Okay, we can just give out checks, just start to move my queen in, and eventually we will be forced into a checkmating position. King is forced to h1, king is forced to the edge, and queen to h2 is a checkmate. So is f1. I guess f1's kind of cooler, so there we go. Another win. We've been playing really well. We are 2 rating points away from 1600, so let's hop right into the game review. Alright, so I played with 87.0 accuracy. My opponent played with 76. I had 5 inaccuracies, 0 mistakes, 1 miss, and 1 blunder. Okay, so after d4, we can just, play f5. The main idea of just, controlling this e4 square. Just basic moves. So yeah, taking back with the doubling up on the pawns is totally fine. So bishop to b4 was an inaccuracy. They like pawn to d5. I guess, just really clamping down on this e4 pawn. I mean, an e4 push is not going to come in the foreseeable future. It's going to take a minute for an e4 push to ever come on the board. And then, yeah, bishop to b4 was an inaccuracy. This was an inaccuracy too. Again, they just love the move d4. I guess it makes sense, just taking control over the center. Because that's pretty much what you want. Okay, so d4, yeah, taking, ruining his pawn structure, and then we just win a pawn. So knight to c6 was a miss. Castling kingside was the best. That was another miss. Okay, queen to e2, e7. I mean, we're up a point, so, this at least didn't put us into a losing position, but it definitely didn't help us. Wait, this was a blunder? Oh, did this work? We go there. Oh, knight here, and now my queen is hit and the knight is hit. I totally missed that move. So, I totally missed the idea of this move. That was really bad on my end, but luckily the opponent did not see it. Okay, queen to knight to f4, just developing even more, solidifying with f4, taking. Yeah, I don't know why he just didn't take, because again, his center is really good now, and his knight is in a good spot here. By playing this move, he just made his center worse and put his knight into a worse spot. So, yeah, that was kind of interesting. Yeah, he has to trade off because our knight is super powerful. We go there, just knight, rook to d8, get our king in, take. Yeah, I thought he would have just gone here or something. But no, he traded down completely, which did not end well for him. And now we just worked with our overwhelming kingside, and eventually his king was forced to be drawn away from the queenside pawns, and we were able to pick them off because, our kingside was just too strong. We had this passed pawn that couldn't be ignored, and once the king was focused over there, we could just push our b pawn, and then we didn't fall for the stalemate trap, and then just gave the checks, walking the king down into the corner. Walking the king down, and then h2 or f1 was a checkmate, but we went with f1 because, I don't know, it's just kind of cooler, I suppose, but Yeah, pretty good game overall. Not many complaints. Got the win. We are 2 rating points away from 1600 now. So hopefully, next video we can break past that barrier. So, anyways, I thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day.